What is hospitality and tourism management, and what kind of career opportunities does it offer students who major in that program? Join me today for another campus conversation, and we'll find out together. Hello and welcome to another campus conversation with me, Dr. Manuel G. Saldivar. Today I'll be speaking with Dr. Arjun Singh, faculty member in the Vacker College of Business and Entrepreneurship at UTRGV. Dr. Singh is the founding director of UTRGV's new major in hospitality and tourism management. Dr. Singh will discuss with us what this program entails and what opportunities it offers to students.
So, one of the main things we're trying to achieve from this program is to get our students to be globally competitive and make sure they're able to manage any kind of hospitality enterprise, any part of the world. So making them globally competitive, not only just to manage, but ultimately our goal is to get them to be leaders in the field. And to be leaders in their community. Because when you think about a hospitality company, whether it's a hotel or it's a restaurant or it's a casino, they tend to be sort of civic, centers for their cities. And so anybody who's a general manager of that facility or an owner of that facility, tend to be very integrated in that. So our mission really is to prepare these students, to be, able to manage these enterprises and grow to be leaders of those companies, but then also community leaders and then globally competitive. So the beauty of the way the hospitality and tourism management program has been positioned within the College of Business is that these students are actually going to be business students. So even though its focus is the hospitality and tourism management, their core foundation is going to be everything that a business student gets, or it's finance or accounting or basic management. So they'll have that core. And then what this program does is it gives them this option to start in this huge industry. And so you take your business foundation and you can start off in any aspect of hospitality, whether it's hotels or it's restaurants or it's casinos or it's banking, which is a service industry, or it's retail or it's airlines. Any service industry really kind of falls within the parameter of hospitality and tourism. So we have got to give it a name, hospitality and tourism, but really it's part of the service sector. So the nice thing is these students have the business core. They can start in hospitality, but doesn't mean that they have to stay in hospitality. They can go back and do something else because they still can fall back on their business degree. But the nice thing is it gives them this option. It gives them this option to start in this vibrant sector, which, as you know, right now is going through some challenges, but it's going to come out. So I would say that would be my message, that don't worry that you're going to be locked into just hospitality and tourism. What you're getting is a powerful business degree from BCOBE at UTRGV with this added facet that you are now specializing in a particular service segment of the industry, which makes you a lot more valuable. So one of the ways we've structured the program is because hospitality and tourism is so broad. And as hospitality and tourism programs have evolved and as the industry has evolved, we found that within this broad area of travel and tourism, you've got to give students a pathway into specific segments. So really the way we've designed the program is that building on the core business foundations, they take some advanced hospitality classes in lodging management or food and beverage management or hospitality accounting, hospitality finance, hospitality marketing. But then they get the opportunity to pick between 4 different specialty or concentration areas. So one of them is if they want to get into, let's say, the lodging segment. The lodging segment is huge. I mean, we've got 55,000 hotel rooms with over 5 million hotels in the United States. So they can get into just that field. So there's a field of lodging operations and ownership. And so there's specialized classes that will prepare them for that part of it. So if somebody wants to, let's say, be a general manager of a hotel, that would be a pathway there. Or if they want to get into the investment side of lodging, there's the ownership side, which involves working for consulting companies or real estate development companies that develop hotels. And so there's the lodging side. The other side is those people who may have an interest in food and beverage. We have a restaurant entrepreneurship and management concentration. And so these are people who want to work in restaurants or own restaurants. That's another specific set of skills that we would offer in that concentration. The third one is meeting and event planning. I mean, being in the Valley, I think meeting and events, at least from a social point of view, are so important. But this industry is huge. If you think about Vegas and you think about Orlando and you think about the big cities, I mean, they're driven by large conventions and meetings. And so there's a lot of businesses that even within hotels, but there are also companies that actually specialize in being meeting planners. So you can be on the social side, the corporate side. And so that's another concentration that we offer our students. And the fourth one, which I think is going to be very unique to our program, is healthcare hospitality. And there's no program right now in the United States within hospitality that has that concentration. And the reason for that is more and more hospitals are starting to resemble the services that hotels provide, whether it's at the front desk or it's a concierge service or having a chief experience officer, because there's a whole emotional side to that patient care experience, which extends beyond the patient. It extends to the families that are there during that trying period. So more and more hospitals are starting to embrace that. And a related field to that is something called meditourism, which is growing and has been growing for a while, where people actually travel to destinations to get certain procedures done, but then stay beyond that to actually enjoy that destination. And so there's certain parts of the world, like Singapore and some parts of the Middle East, Malaysia, that have concentrated in that. And I believe even Mexico has a lot of meditourism destination. So there's I think a very good opportunity for us to kind of position our program in any one of these four concentrations, whether it's lodging, restaurant entrepreneurship, management, meeting event planning, or healthcare hospitality. So that's kind of our plan going forward. So essentially, most leading hospitality programs will always have a required internship requirement for the very reason you just mentioned. So like that, we do have a 600-hour required internship. It doesn't mean that they're limited to 600 hours, but the whole idea is that before they graduate, they've not only got a taste of different segments of the industry, but it also allows them to apply some of the skills, some of the knowledge that they've learned in class in a work setting. And I found that when students start doing internships, they come back a lot more mature and they're a lot more engaged in the classroom. So that's the internship requirement, I think, is going to be certainly a very powerful component. The other part that we encourage and strongly encourage our students to get involved in is with the Hospitality Student Club. And the Hospitality Student Club really serves as an interface between the academic part and the industry, because the club engages the students in a variety of different activities. They'll bring in speakers, they'll take students on field trips. We organize for them to go and participate in conferences, in student competitions. In fact, there's one that we've got a team of 4 students preparing for November, where they're going to travel to Las Vegas and present to one of the largest restaurant development conferences on a new brand that they're going to develop. We did something similar last year, where we took students to Chicago and they prepared a new concept for a brand extension for a hotel, and they presented that at an industry conference. So, and what we're going to be doing in our program is each student that goes through the program will have an industry mentor. And that mentor will basically be their guide while they're in the program. And the idea is for the student to work with me and say, what's your general area of interest? Do you like lodging? Do you like food and beverage? Do you like meeting event? We can pair you up with a senior leader who can kind of, work with you on a variety of, hard and soft skills. So, I think between internships, getting involved with the club, making sure that they interface with industry. That's going to be a really key pillar. The students that take part in more out of class activities take on the opportunity to take on leadership roles, whether it's a club or going to conferences or organizing events. Those things really show up very strongly on the resume. And when the recruiter comes to campus or they interview, they're of course looking for a basically good GPA to show some, obviously some mastery of the subject, but they're also looking to see what other leadership and networking opportunities they had, because our business is all about relationships. It's a relationship business. And so industry is looking for students like that. I mean, do they know how to network? Do they know how to kind of, get things done? Have they taken on a project that's seen it to completion? So these are all basic skills that can convert into successful skills when they actually hire them. Like any other field, in this particular case, hospitality has been impacted a lot more than others. But our industry has gone through a variety of crises going back, many years. If our industry is very resilient, and I don't know if it's the makeup of the leaders or the people who've just been, they're sort of hands-on people, but we always seem to come out a lot stronger. Yes, it may take 6 months, it may take a year, but the industry always comes out more efficient. It comes out more better prepared, somewhat also changed in some ways. So I'm confident that, once we come out of this, and I'm already seeing that through a lot of the information that I get through the news feeds on the types of things that the industry is doing to adapt. Just one very interesting fact is that housekeeping, which used to be kind of it's an important area, but nobody really gave it that much importance. But suddenly now the rooms department, the housekeeping and the sanitation and the cleanliness has taken on a kind of almost a scientific level of sophistication, because of all the companies that now the larger major hotel companies are engaging. And so even line employees and managers are having to learn about some of these microbes and things like that. So we're starting to see a lot more that happening. We're also going to probably see the industry come out with a lot more technology, because they're going to see that there's technology that was sort of waiting in the wings, and we weren't sure when that should be deployed. Will that take away from service? But now we're finding that some of the companies are really looking at those technologies and say, hey, maybe there's certain touch points that don't need to be, maybe they were just redundant touch points. Just simple example of a self check-in, check-out. Luxury hotels were always toying with that idea. If we do a self check-in, check-out, does it take away from the guest service experience? Now suddenly that's become like an important thing, and companies are saying, we could still have that, but we could still have people there to handhold you if you need it, but let them get up to their rooms with a contactless, interface, and then we'll look after you while you're here. So there's things like that. But each one of the major companies and the brands are taking a lead on how do we manage the guest service experience going forward, and they're actually using this as an opportunity to make themselves better prepared. I will tell the students, yes, it's going to be hard for the next year, so I'm not going to pull any punches there. There'll be certain companies that will probably do very well, like, for example, supplier companies that deal with a lot of sanitation and hygiene products that supply to the hospitality industry are doing very well. So a big company like Ecolab, they're going gangbusters. They're hiring more people. There'll certainly be a lot more innovative type of companies that'll be emerging, whether it's food delivery type of companies and things like that, that one should keep an eye out on. But ultimately, travel will pick up because we're social animals, and there's only so much social distancing we can tolerate. And so ultimately, people will want to go and travel with precaution. And so I'm very confident that it's not the demise of the industry. It's just a long pause, if you will.
Many thanks to Dr. Singh for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the thumbs up icon below. And if you really enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button and turning on notifications by clicking on the bell icon. YouTube will notify subscribers of future videos added to this channel. Once again, this has been another Campus Conversation with me, your host, Dr. Manuel G. Saldivar. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you'll join us again for future videos.